How you guys doing today?
Fine. Good.
Good.
Can you guys believe it's this is our last like full day school together?
Really?
Well, think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow's a delayed start. Friday we have the AP exam, and then Tuesday is a delayed start.
Yeah, like the Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, next Tuesday is the same.
I was wondering about that. Like,
What?
what would Tuesday be? Is that like going to be a?
Well, we already know what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch.
Are we gonna finish though?
No.
No.
Dang it.
We'll start it.
What if we like go home and then Zoom and then we watch it?
Zoom
All right,
call,
so
watching
I'll
that
tell you
too.
this. I love you guys. Once Tuesday rolls around, I'm not hopping on a Zoom with you guys. Like, it's over. Like, until I see you in person the next year.
Got
right?
it.
All right, are we ready? You ready? Okay, everybody. Welcome to the third and last episode of this year's Behind the Beans podcast. I'm Mr. Henricksen, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Logan.
Donna.
Kayla.
And here on the Behind the Beans podcast, we hope to elevate the student voice while we each enjoy our cup of coffee. Coffee this morning is delicious, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, I have my black coffee. Donna, you have...
A latte.
Okay, we had
Iced latte.
Yeah, we had an iced vanilla latte last episode. Logan, you're loving the just black coffee, right?
Such great coffee.
Yeah, I believe it. All right, so today is our third episode, and this is a part of a series that we've done towards the end of the school year, right? The first one was focused on reflecting over the past 12 to 14 months on the pandemic. The second episode, which we got a shout out in the hallway, I was pretty excited about. Somebody stopped me and gave me a shout out for that. That was really cool. Shout out Adam for that. Was about kind of what's important and what we value. And so I'm hoping today in today's episode, we kind of look towards the future, right? The future of what life might be like post-pandemic, school-wise, and you guys personally, if you're okay sharing some personal things. Is that all right? Okay. All right, so first off, before we get started, how are you guys doing today? So I introduce you. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
All right.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
Yeah.
Don't remember. We said it's just like talking, right? Kayla, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. So my first question, and I asked each of the groups the first episode and the second episode, and this is maybe the future, and you think about you have some wild dreams that you want to achieve in your life. Was making a podcast ever one of those for you guys?
No.
No.
Did you ever think that's what you'd be doing by the end of your freshman year?
No.
No. I didn't.
I think we'd still be on Zoom.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd leave it.
Yeah, true. I'm glad that we don't have to make this podcast over Zoom. We've done it in person. All right, so like I said, last episode we talked about what is important to students, the things that they value. So if you guys are good with that, I'll go ahead and get into the questions about kind of what we hope for the future and what to expect and comes to fruition in the next year or a few years of your high school career. Does that sound good? All right, so we'll start with this question to you, Donna. First question to you, Donna.
Okay.
What one word would you use to describe this school year? And why?
Awkward. Yeah, because like when we came back, like no one talked. All the classes were like so quiet, and this was like the only class that everyone like talked, and it was so fun. But I don't know, Zoom was weird. It was just really uncomfortable.
Would you say it was awkward even prior to coming back? Because you said it was really awkward when you guys came back in person. Was it awkward even before then, or what was your? Would you use the same word for when we were all remote as when we were in hybrid?
Yeah, because like I feel like it was just all weird. It was like I had to take like some time to get used to it when we came back because I kind of forgot how to like act at school and whatever. But yeah, Zoom was weird too. So.
I mean, to be fair though, Donna, in my assessment, it didn't seem like you needed to like time to adjust. Like you did a great job right from the start. So, Kayla, same question to you. What's one word you would use to describe this school year, and why are you going to use that word?
It was weird. It's just not normal, I guess. And usually there's more people in the classroom, and I don't know, usually I talk more.
Question for you, Kayla, then a follow-up. You used the word weird. As my end as a teacher, I'm like trying to teach both on Zoom and to you guys in person. What is that like for you as a student? Like to see Zoom's up and then not, and then having to be on but you're not. Like, so what's that kind of like for you?
I mean, I got used to it. kind of normal now.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, at first I was like, Zoom is weird. I was bad at it, but now it's easy.
You feeling better about it now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I would say weird is that's probably awkward, weird. You guys are just describing like freshman homecoming, but that's okay. All right, question over to you, Logan. What one word would you use to drive the school year, and why?
I agree with like the awkward, but also like complicated. Like everything this year has been changing and constantly like we've never had the same schedule 2 weeks in a row, and it's kind of just like hard to follow everything.
What's been the most challenging part? Because complicated also kind of implies it's challenging, right? So for you this year, and this will transition into what it's been like to like what we hope for the future, right? So what would you say is the most challenging thing as a result of it being so complicated?
One of the most challenging things was like transferring from Zoom to Classroom and trying to like figure out where everything was with never being here before.
Like the physical layout of the building?
Like that, and trying to like get in contact with everyone but not actually get close to them and talk out stuff. Kind of like that.
Has it still been weird to see people with masks? Like, was that a part of that complicated process for you, or no?
No, I was kind of used to it.
Like, you were okay with that? Kayla?
Used to it.
Logan, it was all right?
Yeah. Whenever I see people with masks off, it kind of like, it's like, oh, wait, that's what they look like?
Yeah.
Do you guys ever like, I was just gonna ask you, do you like see somebody like take their mask off for like a drink of water, or you see them outside and then you're like, that's not what I thought you looked like?
Surprising.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I even feel that way about students sometimes when I see you guys with your mask off, and it's like, oh, that's your real face. Like, that's what you look like. Okay. Okay. All right. Second question. I'll start with you, Logan, since we finished off on that last one. But summer's coming up, right? This is the last episode before the last day of school, and I want to ask you two questions. All right. What are you most excited about right now? Is there anything in the immediate near future that you're really excited about? And two, what are you excited about kind of going forward? Is there something that you could think that you're looking forward to in the near future and then going forward?
Right now, kind of just like excited to get to the AP test and then get over it. It's kind of like just end that. And then going in the future, I have like some plans with friends to go like Six Flags over the summer and just hang with family. So that's kind of something fun to do.
Do you have a favorite ride at Six Flags?
I've never been.
Oh, you've never been?
I've never been for like 10 years.
Okay.
So,
So you're looking forward to it?
Yeah.
then. Okay. I would recommend, here's my one recommendation for Six Flags. Have you guys been to Six Flags?
Yeah.
Yeah? Have you guys been on Superman?
Yeah.
I hate roller coasters.
You hate roller?
I
Okay.
just like go on the rides and stuff.
Okay.
But roller coasters, no.
No. So Superman, here's my one recommendation. Go to the back of the line. Because you know how you lay forward?
Got it.
And then, you know, they have the loop? Well, it's like a slingshot. So you go slow, and you're in the back, and then it just like whips you around.
that's for like the ones that go down too, because if you're always in the back, it kind of whips you down. Because the forward's always slow.
Yeah.
And then
So if you want a little challenge, go to the back row of Superman. All right, what was the question? Oh, we'll go to you, Donna. What are you most excited about kind of right now or in the near future, and then kind of going forward? What are you most excited about as we look towards the future?
I'm just excited about like ending this school year because it's been so weird. I hate it, and I just want to go like during summer, and then for the future, probably like everything going back to normal when we come back, so I don't have to wait till like a whole nother day to see my friends in some class or when we're not on block scheduling or anything.
I hear though there's something this summer that you get to look forward to though. Was I not invited to
My
this?
quince.
Yeah,
Oh,
right. So
I
you have that to
forgot.
look forward to. You forgot
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You have that to look forward to,
Yeah.
right? Do you think, Donna, a follow-up question then, when you say normal, I always wonder, is everything, do we really want everything to go back to normal in the future? Like, is there anything that, like, we would consider normal, but maybe we're like, let's maybe not do that again?
I don't know. I feel like just the way that school was like set up before, I want to go back to normal, but maybe not like how we were in middle school because I feel like everyone like kind of changed. And
What do you
middle
mean
school
by that?
was- Nothing.
Like personality-wise, you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like people are changing?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come back to that question at the end if you guys could think of, like, is there anything in particular that, like, everybody's like, I want to go back to normal, but then you think about that and you're like, but do I really want to go back to that? I don't know. That's something to think about. All right, Kayla, over to you then. What are you most excited about in the near future, and then going forward, anything that you might be looking forward to?
Probably just summer break. No school anymore. Like just be outside, and finally just not be at school anymore.
Do you have anything like any set plans on the summer, or like anything like that?
I might have to go to Nebraska because my brother's baseball. I don't want to do that.
So you're just getting pulled along, or what?
I always get pulled along for those. They're so annoying.
Yeah. All right. So that second up, is there maybe second question, maybe to Donna's point? Is there anything that we say we want to go back to normal, but maybe we don't actually want to do again?
I don't know. I can't really think of much. 'Cause that was over a year ago of normal.
Yeah, right. It actually, this feels like normal
Yeah,
now,
this
right?
is
So
like
to speak.
normal.
Logan, do you have any ideas?
I just don't want masks anymore.
Mhm.
I don't like masks. Not a fan. I like seeing people with their actual faces and not having masks on them, and it's hard to talk, kind of.
Yeah. I think for me, when I think about that question, the first thing that comes to mind is, and maybe this is more as like a professional now, not that you guys aren't pros, but like as a professional, like in a field of work, the idea that like when you're sick, you have to still do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, right? Like, so you feel like absolute, terrible, and then all of a sudden they're like, why didn't you come? And you're like, I'm sick, but they expect you to be at work, or they expect you to come to the party, or they expect you to still hang out with your friends or whatever. And it's like, I feel like that pressure to like still do things even if you don't feel well, I hope like that doesn't return to normal, because like the idea that people just walk around like with like the flu and they're like, oh no, I'll just like go play sports with everybody. Like maybe we shouldn't do that after a pandemic. That was the one thought that I had. All right, so this next question then, I'll start with you, Kayla. We talk about what are you excited for in the near future. Maybe you're looking forward to just being this summer. But back to school though, you guys had a very unique first year of high school. Well, let's use the word unique. None of you guys used the word unique for that first question, but I think that might still be an accurate word to use, right? You had a unique first year experience. So my question is, if you could think ahead to the future, what do you think the rest of your high school experience might be like, or might hope it to look like?
I think it'd be like not similar to this, but like kind of. Like I don't think masks are gonna go right away, because like you don't want to get sick. But like I think by like the way end, it'll be more normal than now. I think similar, but I think more kids would be at school since vaccines and stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. Is that something in general that you're hearing students are going to do? Is that like, do you guys get a general sense that students are willing to get vaccinated or are going to? And I'm just asking this because as a teacher, like we had that drive, right? Like our school district put that on. But you guys don't have the same opportunity. So I'm interested, is that something that you think students are going to be doing here in the near future?
Well, I think it just depends if like their parents allow it. Because my mom gave me the vaccine, I had no choice. But like, I mean, I guess I could. I don't know.
Okay, so it might depend on parents.
Yeah.
Okay. Donna, over to you. That first question, what do you think the rest of your high school experience is going to be like, or maybe what do you hope for?
I hope that it's better. I didn't make a lot of friends this year or anything, and I just, like my classes, I wasn't doing so good, and I just hope that like the next years I get to like enjoy high school a lot more than I did this year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I have this is like kind of a hypothetical, but maybe Donna, I'll ask you this to follow up. Did you think this year was hard, like academically? Was it hard? It was hard in many different ways, right? Because of the unpredictability and the changes and all that stuff. Did you find it hard academically? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how was that for you?
I think it was, well, for like the Zoom portion when we were still like not fully in school, it was actually kind of hard because I would like do fine in the beginning of the week, and then when we went home, like I would just get distracted and not do anything.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know, it was just really complicated and I didn't feel like doing anything. And then when we came back, it was better.
I would love to have a conversation with you guys if we could revisit this in like 3 years. like maybe we do like a 3-year anniversary podcast of this, like that we release it on the same day 3 years later, because from a teacher perspective, I know there is, at least in my end, there's a desire to, when we come back to school next year, to have a little bit higher level of expectation and rigor in our classwork. And you guys don't know what that's like at the high school level necessarily, because in certain classes, and not all, and I think we did a decent job, but even in AP, like there's a lot of things that we didn't get to do or missed out on because of the nature of the school year. So I would love to revisit in 3 years. Can somebody put that on the calendar? Logan, can you like put that in the show notes when we're done with this? Like, we want a 3-year anniversary of like the comparison of rigor and academic from your freshman year to maybe your senior year, and how that changed over the 3 years, because I think that's going to be a huge part of your experience. Logan, to you, what do you think the rest of your high school experience is going to be like? Do you have anything, like any vision in your head of like what it's supposed to look like, or what do you think it might look like?
I don't know. I've never been to high school before this year, but I don't know. I don't want it to go back to normal, because I do like the block schedule, but I also don't like it. Like I like some classes, like this class. I like being in here for an hour and a half because it's easy to learn. But then like other classes, it feels like it goes on forever. But I don't know. I don't really have a way I want it to turn out or something.
Yeah, that's going to be part of. Well, we'll get to my last question, so maybe we'll see that. All right, so if we think about, we're not really sure what the rest of high school is going to be like. I think for you guys in your class, it's like, of course you can't envision it because, well, what the heck has this year been like? It's so different, right? Logan, I don't know if this is for sure or not, but I'm just going to I don't think we're going to have block scheduling next year. Dang it. I'm just sorry to burst your bubble. That's my prediction, at least. I don't know for sure. But my question, when we think into the future, and this is something that we touched on in the last episode of the podcast with this question, but looking into the future, I asked this question, and Logan, I'll go to you first, okay? Do you feel like, if we're talking about the future, do you feel like there is pressure on you to decide what you want to do, like with the rest of your life, like right now? Is that like a thing that you feel, or you guys as students feel currently? And we touched on it last podcast, but this is also about the future, and I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts.
Well, kind of, because like our brother just graduated high school like Saturday, and he's like stressing out about college and what he wants to do with his life, and that's kind of like, oh, this is what I should do. I gotta be prepared for this. So it's kind of like nudging onto me that I should be more prepared, even though I don't know. It's just like I'm 3 years away, but I should probably still start preparing.
Is there a pressure? Do you feel pressure from the school or the people around you to figure that out, or is that not something that you really feel, Logan?
Not really. No, I don't feel anything from the school.
Okay. All right, Donna, we'll go to you then. That's fine. That's totally fine. Do you feel like there is a pressure on you, and maybe collectively you as students, to decide what you need to do in the future, the rest of your life? Like, you have to figure it out now and have a plan and all that kind of stuff?
I do, because, I don't know, I feel like because I'm the oldest, out of like all my siblings, I should be like, I already know what I want to do and stuff like that, but like, I don't know actually, and there's like a lot of people who like already have all their classes like planned out for the rest of the school year, and I'm just here like, I don't even know what I want to do with my life yet, or like what I'm into or anything, because like the stuff I'm doing right now, I don't like see myself doing that in the future.
Yeah, freshman year is a lot of like exploratory stuff, right? So it sounds like pressure is really comparing, or a part of a family dynamic maybe. For you, you're seeing your brother, and you were just being, I'm the oldest as well, so I always felt like, real or perceived, it's just me and my brother, real perceived, like the oldest feels like there's more pressure on them to like figure it out because they're the first one to do it of their siblings, right? All right, so Kayla, to you then, do you think there's a pressure on you guys to decide your future? Like, do you feel that at all? Is that something that fellow students feel?
Well, I mean, compared with my family, with the people I live with are fine, but like my grandma, for example, I saw her like a week or two ago. She was like, what do you want to do? Or like, be a vet, but I don't want to be a vet.
She just gives you the answer you're supposed to say, or?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't want to think about that. I'm just a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
But like, I don't know, like, I don't really have an idea of what I want to do anyways. So if people want me to, well,
Yeah.
I don't have one.
Is there is that conversation that you have amongst your friends though? Like, do you guys talk about that amongst your friends, or is it like something more so that you feel from, you know, people in positions of like teachers or whatever, your grandparents or whatever?
We don't really ever talk about that with my friends.
No. No.
I mean, like sometimes we'll say like what's the plan, but like never really like in depth or anything.
Yeah, I feel like with high school friendships, they're less about stuff like that and more about like navigating socially, like what's going on around you, right? Okay, so let's kind of change it up a little bit. Let's and I often think that we don't as individuals do this enough, right? We often think like we can't do things, or we don't think about the things that we want to do, so or what we want to do in the future, but no constraints, okay? So like you have to like unlock this part of your brain. No constraints, dream is big, and maybe this is going to be a hard question to follow because you're like, I don't know what I want to do, right? But dream big, no constraints. What are your biggest dreams that you have for your life? Because you get to do whatever you want, right? We've talked about it. You essentially get to decide and do whatever you want. If you had your wildest dreams, what do you want to do? What are your biggest, wildest dreams with no constraints, no nothing? And I see some of the looks on your face. You're like, I've never thought about this before, actually. What's the wild, like, no constraints? What do you want to do? And I'll just let you guys decide whoever wants to go first.
I can go first.
Yeah. Go ahead, Logan.
I mean, I kind of want to be like in film or like TV, but I don't want to be on. I want to be like the behind the camera kind of thing, like doing like director or like on cameraman or something. So that's kind of like maybe like a Hollywood set. It'd be like on ABC News, like helping behind the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, wildest dreams. Okay. Yeah, like, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I want you guys to, like, imagine, like, you had no constraints. You had this big dream of whatever it is that you want to do, right? Like, that's totally fine, which makes sense why Logan's the one running this podcast, essentially, right? And wanting to get behind it, which is awesome. Donna, anything that comes to mind? Your biggest, wildest dreams?
Not really. I don't know. I normally just think of like inside the box, not outside. I just think like, what can I do, and what do I feel comfortable with? But I've never thought about that really.
Oh, man, we need to get you to think bigger. Like, that's what's good. That's what really motivates, in my opinion. Like, that's what motivates me, the biggest and wildest dreams that I have, right? Like, and then how do I get to that point, right? Like, where do you go from there? Like, what's the biggest thing you could think of, and then how do you work every day to get to that point? Maybe it just hasn't come to you, Donna.
Yeah.
That's fine. Kayla, any of your biggest, wildest dreams, what could you think of?
Well, I'd want to do something with drawing,
Okay.
like be a professional artist kind of thing, but like not a weird one, but like more of just I don't know, because I like to draw animals.
Okay.
Like I don't know if that'd like do anything for
I don't know.
as a job or something. I don't know, just
Well,
something with drawing.
I asked that question because did I ask you guys about what job you wanted to do?
No.
I didn't ask you about a single thing about your job. I said, what are the biggest dreams that you have, right? Like, I think so often we like think we need to do these things to get a job, and it's like, not all jobs are, like, you have to make money at some point, right? Like, you can't just be, like, you gotta support yourself, right? But we often just, like, I saw the doubt where you're like, well, I don't know if that's a job. No, that's not what I asked though, right? Like, what's your biggest dream, right? If it's doing that, then that's your biggest dream, and that's okay. You know what I mean? And I think that's just something that, I don't know, we don't think about enough, right? Dream big, and then if you fall short, like, whatever, you're fine, right? Anything that's coming to mind, Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah,
wanna-
dream big. No constraints. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So I want to be like independent. I want to like live in a big city, like in an apartment, and just kind of like work from home and have like a family and, well, not like a big family, like dogs and whatever. But yeah, just kind of like live alone and peacefully, kind of, sort of.
That's what I like to hear, Donna, right? Dream big. Live alone in a city, that might be a challenge.
Yeah.
So, but being independent in a city,
Yeah.
you could find your own place. What made you come up with that in the last, minute or so?
I don't know, like how you just came up with like, it doesn't have to be a job. It could be like whatever you want to do. So.
Yeah, just dream big, right? My dream when I was in high school was to travel the world and coach. I mean, that was the biggest dreams I came up with. Like, just no constraints. What did I think about what I wanted to do? That was it. And now I'm here making podcasts with my students, like, and it's fantastic, right? Like, that wasn't even my dream, but dreaming big led me to this point, right? Which I'm super happy about. All right, so I'm glad that you guys shared that and you guys were willing to share that, because sometimes like sharing your biggest and wildest dreams is like you're afraid of being maybe ridiculed or like what others might think, but like who cares, right? But my follow-up question is not how people view your dreams, right? But how you view others, okay? And this is back again, similar theme on social media. But I asked you guys to dream big, right? Of what you want to do in the future, and you guys all had different answers. But when you think to that dream, right? My question is, how do you view others in relation to that dream that you have? Meaning, in today's digital age, it's very easy to compare your life to somebody who's is quote unquote Instagram worthy. And so my question is, does that impact the way you think about your future or where you are currently at in order to get what you want? Do you think that has an impact on you, your peers, or what you might dream of in the future, what you want to get to? And I'll start with you, Donna.
Okay. I think it might have a positive impact because you see like all these people and they're living their lives, but they were all like regular people, like I don't know, were like us, and so like I feel like I could get there too if I really tried.
So so for you, it's somewhat inspirational
Yeah,
then. Like you
sort
see
of.
other people. Okay, what do you mean by sort of?
Because then there's like some people that like use their like I don't know, popularity wrong, I guess. So I don't know, just how you take it in, I guess. I don't know.
how you process
Yeah.
it yourself. Logan, to you, do you think that's something that you what do you think about the impact of that?
Well, there's definitely, like what Donna said, there's definitely people who like are not influencers to me because they're like they promote the wrong things with their popularity. But then there's also people that are like, yeah, this is what I do and this is how you do it. It's like, yeah, I can follow that and it can help me in the future.
Yep.
So there's like a mix of what people do with their popularity to make it, I guess, good.
No, it's like valuable.
Yeah.
Make it valuable. So we're kind of talking like social media though, but do you ever feel like you guys miss out when you look at what people are doing on social media? You're like, I wish I was doing that, or I wish I was doing that. Logan.
Sometimes, but not. Like when there's stuff that's like, oh, I just went to California, went to the beach for 5 weeks. It's not like, whatever. But then if it's like, oh, I just went and got this donut and it's really good. Like, oh, maybe I can do that. 'Cause it's reasonable. It's not like out of the.
Donut sounds really good.
It
I don't know
does
why-
sound really
that
good,
sounds
yeah.
That sounds delicious. It's like when we talk about like how we just eat dessert for breakfast, which is actually going to be one of our games later. It's going to have to do with breakfast food. Kayla, to you though, does that have what others are doing? Does that impact the way you view your future, or how fear of missing out, or comparing where you're at to others? And I'll give you an example of where I'm at with this kind of thing.
I don't really compare my life to someone else's because everyone has different circumstances. But, like, I don't really follow anyone that big, and like I kind of look at what someone says because I don't want to follow someone who's promoting the wrong thing. Because I feel like people only follow certain people just because it looks cool, even though like I don't know, promoting bad things isn't cool, but people like think it is. I don't know. I don't really compare my life to people.
Could you give me an example? Because all of you guys referenced bad things. What do you mean by bad things? Because like my view of bad things, like my first view is like something related to our subject, right? Like I won't get it, but like what do you guys mean by bad things?
I just mean like, I don't know, some people think it's cool like smoke or do drugs or drink a bunch of alcohol when, I don't know, like, or just saying lots of bad language, like cursing a lot. I don't really like that. Or certain kind of music, like, that just promotes bad things. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the examples. Donna, what did you say bad things too?
I don't think so.
I think Logan did. Logan,
Yeah.
what are the bad things that you were referencing?
Well, like there's some channels that are like, oh, you need these cars and these clothes to be cool like me, and oh, we destroy cars for fun, and like it's showing
cars for fun. What are you watching, Logan?
I don't know. But no, it's like people that are like, yeah, you need all this stuff to be cool, and if you don't have it, you should probably get it. And it's like wildly like, oh, go buy a Tesla, and I'm 5 years old. So it's like, those kind of bad influencers, in my opinion, that are like saying you need stuff that you don't actually need.
Yeah, that's funny you brought it up because that was the example that I was going to give. I think as I get a little bit older, there's a, and this is probably true of all ages, there's a trap or a potential failure of falling into like, I got to keep up with everybody else, what they're doing, and not run my own race, so to speak. And I think money and cars and things is such a huge part of that, right? And Mrs. Henricksen and I are about to have a kid, you know, like nobody's gonna, I can't compare that to anybody else's life because our family's gonna be completely different from somebody else's, right? But there's this like maybe pressure to feel like you gotta be the perfect parent or like you gotta have the perfect thing or the perfect heart. Like I think that's where I am at with that kind of thing, like, you know, wherever it may be. Okay, so I think we're on the last question for this, and then we'll play our game after that. Okay, and this last question, I'm interested to see what you say about this, because I think on our last day of school, there's a website, and Logan, maybe this will be another task for you to put this in the show notes or the description box or whatever. I got to remember the website, but there's a website that you can write a letter and send it to yourself at a future date. So I think on the last day of school, I'm going to have you guys send yourself a letter just so that you remember, reflect on what this school year was like. And maybe you take some of the themes of what we talked about, and then I think it'll send it to your email, and then you should get it like 3 years later. Maybe we need to set up like a reminder email so that it's like 3-year podcast, anniversary podcast today or whatever for this episode, for this group. But I think I'm going to have you guys to do this, but I'm going to kind of flip it around for this question. So imagine yourself as a senior at the same time of the year, the end of your senior year, and you're actually writing a letter back to your freshman self. So this is kind of like a mind trick. You have to think about yourself in the future. What do you hope your senior self would write a letter about to your freshman self? For the next 3 years, is there something personal growth? Is there things you want to achieve? Is there dreams that you have? What would your senior self write back to your freshman year self? Is it advice? I know that's a really tough question because you're not there yet, but I wanted to flip that idea of writing it to your future self, but your future self after you're actually writing to your past self. So, since it's a tough question, I'll take volunteers first. Logan?
I guess I can go first.
All right, Logan's going first.
I don't know, maybe like I didn't stop trying and kept on going through the hard times. If this doesn't end, the pandemic doesn't end and all that stuff, like kept going, and maybe like Behind the Beans got monetized and we're at like 1 million subscribers.
That would be cool, 1 million subscribers for Behind the Beans. Anything else you would want to hope maybe your senior self wrote back to your freshman self about what happened or what transpired over the rest of your time in high school?
Just like what happens, what to be prepared for, and like what I can do to prepare to get ahead of the game, kind of, and I don't know, be prepared.
Okay. And I'll tell you the point of this exercise after. Maybe I should have told you before, but I'll tell you after. Donna, go ahead.
I guess just like advice on like how to get through high school, and like maybe like to start like planning ahead, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess just like advice on school.
Okay. Kayla?
I would do more of advice, and as a person in general, not like school-wise, just like how to better yourself and not be so, like, I don't know, just like change a little bit, be better, I don't know.
The point of this exercise, and if you really think about it too, is if you know what you want to write in that letter back to your freshman self, essentially, isn't that kind of setting up the dreams and the goals that you want to achieve? In order to write that letter, what do you have to start doing now? The things that you hope to write to yourself in the future. Right, I know that's like kind of like a super metaphor, like I'm not trying to get too deep, but at the same time I am, right? Like, if you want to achieve something and you want to be able to be like, hey, in 4 years, I want to write to myself that you achieved this thing, right? Like, that's kind of the idea of this exercise, right? So, like, if you could imagine what you want to write, well, guess where you have now a little pathway to get there, right? This is the dream I have for the next 3 years. I want to tell myself that I did this over the next 3 years. And whatever it may be, it is what it is. Like, that's a personal thing. But I think that exercise could be something that you could utilize, and anybody could utilize beyond just high school, right? Like, I want to write myself a letter in 5 years to say that, like, I did this, that I achieved this, right? Like, for me, I want to write myself a letter in 18 years as my kid goes off to school that I was a good father, right? I want to be able to write myself that letter. And it's not easy to do. I don't know what that means just yet, but if that's the end goal that I want to write to myself, I know I have a pathway to get there. You know, and that's like, that was the point of that exercise. And I know I put you on the spot to think about that, but it's just something to think about, right? A way to think about what you want to achieve in the future. And that's where I talk about dreaming. It's not about necessarily like X amount of dollars. It's like, this is how I want to feel. This is what I want to send back. Okay. All right. Any final things that you guys want to add about what the future may hold or anything like that before we get into our game or anything like that? We good?
Maybe you should bring your son onto the senior remake podcast.
Well, we don't know if it's a boy
daughter,
or girl
or daughter.
yet. Yeah, we don't.
Either one.
The remake, 3.
It'd be like 2.5.
2.5, almost 3. All right, put
Maybe.
that in the.
Okay,
we'll
put
have to
that in
write
show
that in the
notes.
letter to ourselves, right? Maybe my letter is to myself. What do I want to write to myself by the time you guys are seniors? I want my kid to be in a podcast. We'll have to get approval from Mrs. Henricksen on too. Make sure that's okay. All right, it's now time for everybody's favorite game. I played this game with my friends over the weekend. One of my buddies texted me because he saw the tweet, and he was like, he told me that he would delete Chipotle, remediate, this was my brother, delete Chipotle, remediate Chick-fil-A, so it was open 7 days a week. He wanted to change their owners, and then keep Portillo's. That was it. So I played this outside of the podcast. Did you guys play this with like your parents or something? You should. You should just like go up to them and be like, hey, you want to play a game? See what they say. All right, so keep, delete, and remediate. The topic of this, think post-pandemic. When that happens, who knows, right? But let's imagine a post-pandemic world sometime in the near future. And each of these are going to be based on things that you could do with no restrictions, like no worry, like nothing to really worry about, okay? And there's always going to be, I try and keep it one school related, one food related, and then one just kind of mixture of things, okay? So you guys ready for the first one? So imagine a post-pandemic world at school, no masks, no hybrid, no Zoom, everybody's in school, you got 32 people in class all at once, and you have 8 class periods a day, right? So what we hope, I think you guys said that we hope we get to, except Logan wanted block schedule still, potentially, okay? All right, so 3 things. Imagine you're within your school day. Keep, delete, or remediate. Number 1, and I talked about this over Zoom, but this is in real life in front of 30 plus people. The teacher making you present in front of class in a normal class period. Number 2, talking and working with classmates that you don't know. And then number 3, riding the school bus every single day. Keep, delete, remediate. Those 3 things. You get to keep one, delete one, and change one. Anybody can go first. I don't have a set order for this. Donna, you want to go first?
Well, I guess the bus is fine. That's not awkward. So I would keep that one. I would change the presentation one so that I could do like groups or whatever, because I hate going up by myself. That's so awkward. And then I would delete working with people that you don't know, because sometimes one person ends up doing things and it's just not fun.
Okay, so that's your 3. Logan, what about you?
I'd probably keep the bus. There's nothing really wrong with it. I would probably change presentations. Because I do like presentations, but there's some stuff that can be like changed, like go up there with friends or make it less awkward, kind of. And then delete being in groups with people you don't know.
Kayla?
I'll keep the bus, that's fine. I'd delete the presentations. And then I'd rather just remediate, working with random people, and just, I don't know, being able to choose who you work with.
That's what you would change?
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised because riding the bus, like, you guys one day hope to drive your car here, right? So you're going to keep riding the bus?
It's alright.
Until then.
And I was going to point out, for you guys both said talking with classmates you don't know. I think that's a great reflection on, like, sometimes in high school you have to talk with somebody you don't know, and then they end up being a really good friend in high school just because you happen to be sitting next to them in the human Chio. But maybe you guys don't want to make more friends. I don't know.
Guess not.
Yeah. All right. All right. Second one. So this is again in a post-pandemic world. Keep, delete, or remediate. And imagine yourself. You now have a car, so you have a little bit of independence, like that's what you talked about, Donna, to be able to do some things again. No restrictions, no nothing. So post-pandemic world, going out to do things. Here are my 3 things that you could keep, delete, or remediate. All right, so number 1, like concert or shows. Number 2, going out to the movies with a big group of friends. Or number 3, attending like a sporting event or something similar to that. So in a post-pandemic world, you have to keep one, delete one, and remediate one. What are you doing?
I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Logan.
Probably delete movies, because with giant groups of friends, it
Dude,
never
didn't
works
you
out.
say you want to be a movie director?
Yeah, but they never work out.
Okay.
Everyone's always talking. Because
Okay.
you don't want to be quiet and watch a movie. You want to hang with your friends.
Okay, all right.
What were the other 2?
Okay, so like a
and
concert,
sport, yeah.
concert/show, or like a sporting event.
Concert, probably change, make it easier to go there, kind of. I've never really been to a concert.
Okay.
I don't really know what they are, but
Well, it's just music. You listen to music. But yeah,
probably change it for like better seating and stuff.
Okay.
And then sporting event, keep.
you're good with that?
I like sports.
Do you have a favorite team or anything?
I would say Blackhawks. But
Okay. All right, so maybe a Blackhawks team.
Yeah.
All right. Kayla.
I would keep concerts, those are fine. I'd probably delete sports. And then change the movies to be, I don't know what I'd change about them though.
I would change the popcorn not being $12.
Yeah, just the prices. Is it
I
bad?
just bundle it in.
Yeah. You delete sports?
Yeah.
You don't like sports at all? Just whatever.
I don't care about them.
Have you been to concerts before then? Is there anyone that was a lot of fun that you've been to, or?
No, but I'm going to one in September.
Awesome. What are you going to?
Zach Williams. I don't know if you know who he is.
I don't, but
He's Christian music.
okay.
So,
I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, Donna, over to you. Keep, delete, remediate.
I would keep concerts, delete sporting events, and then change movie theaters because I think after the pandemic they're gonna like close that whole, like you can buy like the whole movie theater so that it's private, and I would love to do that with my friends because most of the time it's just weird with a bunch of people there that you don't even know. So yeah, I would change that.
So that you could buy the whole movie theater out?
Yeah, for like a movie.
Like the whole movie theater? Or
No,
just like one
a
film?
theater.
One film
Like,
room?
I don't know, the area.
Yeah. No, like one screen. One
Yeah.
screen. I was gonna say, Donna, like you're gonna buy all of AMC, like to the moon, I guess, right? All right, keep, delete, remediate. Final one. So I have to have a food one in here. Okay? And we've talked about this before, and it's tied to donuts, but we're gonna talk breakfast food. Because I know we've had this debate in class before. Which one is better, but we'll do it the keep, delete, or remediate version. And I just want to note that I love that in the United States, a lot of our breakfast food is really just dessert. Like it's actually just a great excuse to eat cake for breakfast. That's what a donut, right? You could get literally a cake donut for breakfast, right? All right, so keep, delete, remediate. Pancakes, waffles, and French toast. Because we debated what was better, waffles or pancakes earlier in the year. So keep, delete, remediate. Pancakes, waffles, or French toast. Who wants to start with this one?
I'd delete waffles. I don't like them.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. They're gross. French toast I'd change, and then just keep pancakes. I don't know what I'd change about French toast.
Kayla, you have to have something to change. That's
I
the
know.
game here.
Yeah. I know once when I had it, it was like soggy. It was gross. I don't
So-
like waffles or
Or French toast. So you're going to change the French toast to pancakes, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so just change it.
So just turn it into pancakes.
Or just regular toast, not French toast. No.
Oh, so you're going to change French. You're going to take the French out of it.
Yeah, just take French out.
You just want your toast? Okay. Donna, over to you. Pancakes, waffles, French toast.
I would delete pancakes because they're literally just waffles but flat. And then I would
Okay.
I would keep waffles and then change French toast because I've actually never had it, but I don't know. I
Are
guess
you-
just make it into toast.
You're gonna
like
change it
Kayla.
up? Well, you guys know how it's made, right? It's just like dipped in egg with like
Yeah.
cinnamon and stuff like that, and then you. Okay, Logan, over to you.
Okay, so I like them all.
Yeah, so maybe I'm glad I saved you for last time.
I love French toast, so probably keep French toast. I don't want to get rid of waffles, but I want to change pancakes. I want to change pancakes to not make them as fluffy. I don't like the really thick pancakes that like you get like burnt toast or anything.
Okay.
Because they make me full so fast.
Okay.
And then I guess delete waffles.
You have
I
to
don't
delete-
I don't want to delete waffles. Waffles are great.
Yeah, but this is the name of the game, man. You have to delete one.
Delete pancakes. Keep waffles. Change waffles to be less like when you have frozen waffles, less ice on them because it makes them soggy.
So you want to change the Eggo waffles so they don't get freezer burned?
Yes.
That's kind of what you're going for?
Exactly what I'm going for.
All right, well, I hope, Logan, the next time you have waffles, you go out and get waffles and not freezer burn Eggos.
It's an easy breakfast in the morning.
I agree. I used to eat those all the time in high school because you just pop them in and you go do your thing and then they're ready to go. Do they still have the break apart ones? Have you ever seen those? Where it was like it's like a waffle, but then it's like how do I describe it? But it's like 4 in one
Yeah.
like little
Oh,
square,
yeah,
and
the
then you
mini
just
ones,
rip
yeah.
like and then you dunk them.
We just buy the giant like 100-pack from Costco.
Yeah. All right.
Just take one out
Yeah,
when we're ready.
valid. Oh, I forgot to say, did I talk about my coffee this morning? Shout out Mr. Allen. This is Kirkland brand coffee this morning, so I had to give him a shout out. All right, well, I think that's Keep, Delete, Remediate. That's the last part of this episode. So before I close this out, is there anything, final words that you guys want to say today? I keep saying, do not plug your socials. It's not what this is about. But is
Behind
there-
the Beans on YouTube.com.
Yeah, yeah. Logan's gonna. All right, that's okay.
That's
That's,
a good
okay.
social.
Any final things that you want to say? Any final wrap up before we get out of here for the end of the school year and what we hope for the future?
Thank you to our sound tech crew. We got James, Keira, Noah. That's pretty much it.
Okay, Donna. Any final words?
I actually never thought we would do this, so I'm really happy that we did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are a part of this.
Yeah,
Kayla?
this is fun.
It was a lot of fun. So I appreciate all of you guys. And so since this is the last episode of the year, I want to give a big shout out, obviously, to all of you guys who are working on this, who pushed me to do this, all of you who participated. Obviously, anybody who was actually listening to this still, shout out you guys. But really a big shout out to all students this year. It's been really rough, and I appreciate teaching every last one of you guys, despite everything that's going on. And I've really had a lot of fun this year and a lot of value in getting to know each and every one of you. So on that note, this episode was all about the future. So let's hope for the best in the future, not only school-wise, but in our own lives, and let's make sure we dream big. All right, so thank you guys. That's the end of episode 3, and we'll see you next year, Logan.
Sure.
Next school year.
See you next year.
I think that's what we're gonna do. See you next year, guys. Great job.